Episode 58. I am your host, Kyle Hiersche, and today we're going to be talking about why speed wins, why fast execution beats perfect ideas. And this is a topic we touch on frequently throughout this podcast, but today we'll go a little bit more in depth into it. But it's a very simple concept. Whoever gets to the market first is typically going to win, at least, in the short term, right? You could plan all day for, excuse me, you could plan all day for years and your product or service is still not going to be perfect. And so when you think about it that way, why wait at all, right? Get something out there. We talk about the minimal viable product all the time. Get something that can sell and get it out there because speed creates opportunity. And at the end of the day, it's really the basis of everything. So when we're talking about speed, this also comes into play. So have you ever maybe had an idea and didn't execute it, and then later you see somebody execute it and you say, oh, I had that idea a long time ago? Well, it doesn't matter who had the idea, it matters who executes the idea first. So that comes into play here in speed. It's not just speed to market over competitors and whatnot, it's speed as far as just doing something at all and getting something going. And so, I mean, everyone's had those moments where they say, dang, I had that idea, I wanted to do that. But it doesn't matter about the idea. It matters about the execution and the speed of that execution. Because you could have that idea, you could think that you're executing it by planning it a bunch for months or years, but you're not actually doing it, right? So speed, we're talking about not just, working on it. We're talking about the speed of putting it out there and putting it into the market. Just in general, faster usually wins, right? Whether it's the start or whether it's, the company's already going, whatever you're doing, typically speed is going to win. So, don't wait for the perfect logo. Don't wait for the perfect website. Don't wait, until you think you know everything or until you feel ready. As soon as you have a product or service out there that can sell, you're ready, period, right? Just put it out there. Let's see if it can sell. Let's get some people in the sales funnel and all that kind of good stuff. And if you don't have a sales funnel, research how to create one. If you want somebody to make your sales funnel for you, my team can do that at yourdigitalbusinesspartner.com. Set up your whole business in your sales funnel. So, there's no excuse not to get something out there. We're talking about, minimal investment of a couple $100, typically to, get your company up and running and get some kind of product or service out there with a website and a logo and, all that kind of good stuff. So it's important to get out there fast. And here's the thing, when you get out there fast, you're going to be learning fast, right? So it's much better than sitting there and planning slow. We're doing fast and we're learning fast, and we're going to get to the revenue faster. Here's the other thing, we're going to get to the problems faster. And I think that's the biggest key. When we're moving quickly and we put speed to what we're doing, one of the biggest advantages is seeing the problems sooner. Because when you plan for too long, you think you're planning around problems, but you have no idea what the problems are until you start. And so, at the end of the day, we want to get to the problems as soon as possible. And that's not going to happen by planning. That's going to happen by doing. So the more you do, the quicker you do it, the more you're going to get through the problems, the hurdles, the mistakes. And you could spend years planning and you'll never foresee those problems, hurdles, and mistakes that you're going to make, right? You have to actually go make them. So we don't want to sit back and plan. We're never going to see all the problems until we start doing it. And the problems we thought we were going to have are probably not the same problems we have in real life. So doing it fast not only gets you going faster, gets you learning faster, but also gets you to the problems faster so that you can, overcome those challenges. The sooner we find out about the challenge and how we need to overcome it, the easier it is, to overcome. And when you're moving quickly, you can also adapt quicker. You can pivot quicker. If you're slow with everything that you're doing, it's hard to, adapt and pivot when you're moving in slow motion. It's typically something that you need to be, moving quickly, be able to adjust, be nimble, be able to, move and shake, right? And so, moving just in general, your whole company or you as an entrepreneur moving slowly is definitely kind of a hindrance in that aspect. So I really recommend just launch before everything is perfect, as soon as possible, before you have a minimal viable product, and focus on selling, not, branding and, general intangible things like that. Test your ideas and your different iterations and your, variations as quickly as possible, and get customers feedback as quickly as possible. That's another reason why we want to get going as quickly as possible, so we can get the customers feedback. I mean, I've had businesses where literally the business does not work at all. The product or service, no one wants it at all. And we didn't find that out until we put it out there and then talked to some customers. And first off, nobody bought it. And when we talked to the customers that we did get that didn't pull the trigger, so all the people in our pipeline, they all said the same thing. It's not necessarily, they don't want it. And so that business was just, it was done. Right. And so of course we're moving, we're pivoting, we're adjusting, but that particular product or service, it just doesn't work. It won't work, and it's not going to ever work. And that's because we went out, but we know that because we went out there, we got people in the funnel, we got them the information, we followed up with them, we ran ads for long enough to get enough people in the funnel to where somebody should have purchased it. They didn't. We followed up with people, got their feedback, and the feedback was very clear. It's not a product or service people want. It was not actually solving a problem, and that's okay. We'll pivot, we'll create a new product or service, and go from there. But you want to get to that point as fast as possible. So I'm really glad that we were moving quickly, right? I'm glad that within the span of a month, we got enough, couple thousand people in the pipeline, got them the information to know that, nobody bought it. It's obviously not, connecting. And then after speaking to the people and hearing the actual feedback, it was for sure not something that people were ever going to buy. So if your product or service is that, imagine planning for months and years to roll out a product or service that's just like that one, right? That's just, it will not sell. There's no need for it, even though you think there is. And so we want to get to that point as soon as possible as well. Right. So all of this quick moving fast is to get to everywhere, a lot more quickly. And I think a lot of that is problems, as opposed to like, oh, we got to get to the money quickly. Well, of course you want to get to the revenue quickly, but you really want to solve your problems quickly, and you want to see the results quickly at the end of the day. All right. So I think we can go ahead and get into some questions here. Okay. So remember, if you have any questions, you can always reach out to @Founding Without Funding or @Kyle Hiersche and send in some questions. And, you can always ask questions here. We also stream this live on all the different platforms. If you need help growing or starting a business, go to foundingwithoutfunding.com and pick up the book. It can help you do that. If you want somebody to actually handle that for you, my team can actually set up your LLC, your website, your logo, your social media ads, all that kind of good stuff for you at yourdigitalbusinesspartner.com. So if you want to get help starting or growing your business yourself, go to foundingwithoutfunding.com to get the book, and it will help you do that. And if you want to be a little bit more hands-off and have somebody handle that for you, my team can do that for you at yourdigitalbusinesspartner.com. Also, if you want to join our team as a loan officer, whether you're licensed or not, being a loan officer is a great high-paying career. If you'd like to join our team, we can help you get licensed and come on board and give you leads to get started. So if you're looking for a new career, go to newmlo.com. It's remote. You're on your own schedule. You're essentially your own boss. So newmlo.com if you want to join our team as a loan officer. And again, I'm going to go through the questions that are already sent in here, and feel free to also drop any questions that you have in the chat. All right. So question here from Jake: how do I know when something is ready to launch? As soon as you can sell something. So as soon as you have something to sell and a way to sell it, that's when you're ready to launch. So for most businesses, that means a website and hooked up to a payment processor, PayPal or whatever it is, PayPal, Stripe, and that's it. You're ready, right? If you have a product or service and you have a website where you can send people to buy it and you have that hooked up to where people can pay for it, it's ready to launch. And from there, you can add to it and you can figure out more of the back end of how to execute the product you're selling and all that kind of stuff and make it better and all that. But you need a landing page and you need a payment processor and you can start selling. Amanda's asking, what if my first version looks unprofessional? Well, I would say if something looks unprofessional, use AI to make it look professional, whether it's, wording, whether it's graphics, use one of the AI platforms out there and just make it look good. I mean, it's not hard and you don't have to know how to do design or anything like that, to have one of these AI platforms like GPT or Gemini or one of these to make artwork for you, to structure documents for you and stuff like that. So I would say make it look better as much as you can and then still put it out there. It's not necessarily all about the look. Sometimes the most simple sites have the best conversion rate or simplest landing pages or the simplest ads. Sometimes, I mean, you don't have to be a graphic design whiz to make effective ads. Sometimes it's just words and on black words on white, right? Or something. It just depends on what, connects with people. Okay, Chris is asking, how do I avoid making mistakes when I'm moving fast? Well, we're not going to necessarily avoid mistakes, right? We want to get to the mistakes fast. So that's what I say as far as, we're going to make mistakes regardless. And what we set out to do is not necessarily what's going to happen in reality. So what we want to do is get to that point as fast as possible where we realize, okay, that was a mistake. Now we're going to adjust accordingly, right? So it's not about not making mistakes. It's about getting to that point of seeing the mistakes as fast as possible. So it's really about making the mistakes as fast as possible. Obviously, you're not going to intentionally try to make mistakes, but that's really what it's about. It's about getting out there as soon as possible so you can start making the mistakes and start learning from them. All right. Natalie's asking, is planning important or should I just start? Well, planning is important, but think about this. If you're planning a business, what does this really take? And especially now with AI, I would ask ChatGPT, I want to start this business. Tell me how this industry works. Tell me how I could, take a unique approach to this business or what I should do. Put some documents together. I mean, so many people just start a business and start winging it. And I'm not talking about something crazy. I'm not talking about like a pitch deck to investors. Just put down on the document what you're doing, how you're going to go about it. You could even make a spreadsheet. I'm not the biggest fan of spreadsheets when there's not been any data yet to put in them, but you could make some general projections, right? But I would say nowadays it's so beautiful. Just ask GPT or something, what to do and how to structure it. But yeah, put something on paper. That's great. But this is something I'm talking about. This is something that takes an hour, right? And then it could take you another few hours to make some graphics or whatever. Might take you a day or two to make a website, or, you could pay somebody to do it, quicker. But, that's about all the planning you need, right? You just want to know in general what you're doing and how to go about it and get out there and do it. So I think people talk about planning. So I'm not saying no planning, but what I'm saying is the planning that most people are talking about is something that takes less than a few hours, because there's, sitting there making a bunch of spreadsheets from a bunch of market research and other companies' data and stuff. It means nothing, right? It really means nothing. All that matters is the data that you're getting. So, plan for a couple hours, use AI to help you plan and put some info on a document of an action plan of what you're going to do and how you're going to do it. And that's it. And that shouldn't take days. It definitely shouldn't take months. Some people say, I've been planning my business for months. No, within an hour, you can ask GPT some stuff, put some stuff together, figure out the way you want to go, put that on paper. Again, we're talking about copying, pasting things here. and put that together and then start. So if you want to sit down to start your business, within 2 hours, you should be actually working on the business, not planning. I don't think, in my opinion, you shouldn't be spending more than 2 hours planning your entire business, because it's all going to change as soon as you get started. So don't spend more than 2 hours, talking to GPT or whatever AI you use, kind of brainstorming, getting some ideas, putting it down on paper and stuff. I mean, these are things that literally can take less than 2 hours. And then you should be focused on getting out there and selling. Let's see here. How do I deal with fear of failing publicly? The way I deal with the fear of failing is just look at how many people failed, right? I mean, there are so many billionaires that have claimed bankruptcy. There are so many successful people that were unsuccessful or were very successful and then became unsuccessful and failed miserably and then got back on their feet and became successful again. I mean, that's the game we play as an entrepreneur, right? If there was no risk, there would be no reward. And since there is a risk, some people experience the consequences of that risk. But that doesn't mean that they're, not going to reap the benefits on the next cycle of when they keep working and then they get up again. So when you play the game big, you can lose big, but it's part of the game. So I would just know that anybody that's an entrepreneur, they know this already. And anybody who's not an entrepreneur, a lot of people do know this, that you can always bounce back, that failure is part of the process. And if they don't understand that, then good riddance, right? Who cares? But most people understand that being an entrepreneur is a fluid thing, and success and failure is not a permanent thing when you're an entrepreneur, no matter how rich you are, no matter how big your business is. Let me tell you, there's businesses that will drain you and your company, all of the assets. When you have large businesses where payroll's hundreds of thousands of dollars and the business is struggling, all of a sudden, who's paying the hundreds of thousands of dollars in payroll? You. How long can that last? Can you last months and months and months with that happening? Right? I mean, you can go from being on top of the world to being in debt. That's the game that we play. So don't be nervous about failing. If you're starting out your journey, you're going to need to fail a lot. So don't be nervous about failing, because it's going to happen. Right? But I'm talking about even established entrepreneurs. We fail all the time. And also, the millionaire, billionaire, people that you hear talk in interviews and stuff, they all say they were down really bad, then they were up, then they were down, then they were up. And a lot of people talk about how they claimed bankruptcy. Some have claimed bankruptcy multiple times because, again, it's a gamble, right? We play big to win big, but we can also lose big. So we can lose much more than a normal person, but we can also gain much more. That's the beautiful part about it. And really the difference is, are you going to work hard to make it happen? So even when you lose, are you going to keep working until you win again? Okay, Melissa's asking, how do I stay motivated when things move slowly? How do you stay motivated when things move slowly? That's a tough one. And I've been through that, right? Where it just feels like there's no action and you're not getting any sales and it's just so slow. Feels like there's nothing you can do about it, but we just got to keep, being creative and keep going and working and trying to adjust, maybe pivot if we have to, and just know that it happens to everybody. All businesses get to a place where they stall. All entrepreneurs' journey get to a place where they slow down and it's super hard and it feels like you're, running through quicksand trying to get to the next goal. It's just, again, it's just part of the game. Let's see. Brand is asking, what if someone steals my idea? Well, if someone stole your idea, you probably didn't get to it fast enough, right? So that's what this episode is talking about is speed and getting it out there. You want to be, if you thought about it, you want to get it out there. But at the same time, that doesn't mean that if they're first that you can't do it, right? There's hundreds of competitors in all different businesses that are all successful. I watched a clip the other day, and a gentleman, a successful entrepreneur, was saying, I made the most money when my company was number 2. When it was number 1, there's all kinds of costs and you're trying to keep up with being number 1 and all this kind of stuff. But when you're number 2 and you're not trying to chase number 1, you're just trying to stay number 2, that's where all the profit is. So that was an interesting take from a video that I saw. But the point is here that there's plenty of money to be made in doing things that other people are doing, right? People are billionaires off of doing things that plenty of other people were doing. They're just coming in and doing it better, doing it different, or just working harder at it, right? So if someone quote unquote steals your idea, I would say there's really no such thing as theft of an idea, right? An idea is just an idea. It's about who did it. So you're saying, what if someone steals your idea? Well, they didn't really steal it, right? They just did it instead of you. That's what it is. There is no such thing as stealing an idea. There's executing an idea or not executing on the idea. It doesn't matter who thought of it. It's about who did it. All right, we'll go one more question here. How many ideas should I test at once? So good question. Well, I would stick with one product or service at first. If you only have, if it's a brand new business, I would stick with one product or service at first. But there's different ways you can test it, right? You can do A/B testing with your ads. Obviously, you want to do dynamic creatives when you're, doing ads through Meta or whatever it is, so that it tests those different creatives within itself. But, as far as you testing it, just, have different variations to what you're doing. You can even A/B test things. You can use things like Hotjar or something to see where people are clicking on your page or clicking in your email to see, what exactly you need to do to adjust. So, there's different ways to, adjust and test different ideas. But obviously, like having two landing pages, different pricing or different layouts or whatever it is, and sending people to both and testing them, a simple A/B test is usually, kind of the best way to get results with that. Okay. Well, we'll wrap it up here. Remember, foundingwithoutfunding.com if you'd like to pick up the book to help you grow or start your business yourself. If you want to be a little bit more hands-off and have my team start your business for you, you can go to yourdigitalbusinesspartner.com and we can help set up your LLC, your logo, your website, your social media ad campaigns, all that kind of good stuff. So yourdigitalbusinesspartner.com if you'd like to have my team set up that for you. And again, if you'd like to join our team as a mortgage loan officer, go to newmlo.com. We provide leads, we provide the best rates and the most programs out there in the industry and some of the highest compensation. So go to newmlo.com if you'd like to join our team as a loan officer. Whether you're licensed already or not, we can help you get licensed and bring you on the team. So newmlo.com if you'd like to join. Thank you everybody for tuning in. We will see you on the next